Okay, now I know in a previous video I talked about costing, but now that you got some ideas with your private label products, it's time to get serious on strategizing. We're going to find out if the market needs us. We're going to do a competitive analysis to find out what all the products are around or would be surrounding our product that it's going to have to compete with. Hopefully there's not that many. And then start early. We need to work on costing. Now, not every private label is going to list their prices on the website. You might have to inquire. Now we don't want to, once we've decided on a few ideas, then we could actually go through the process of, hey, email them, see what they say. And ask for an estimate so we could get a good idea quickly. Okay, so now with the magic of private label, our manufacturing cost should be attainable, just like that. The salsa, the dip, whatever, could change a little bit, but estimated for a certain amount of quantity. There's probably going to be a minimum quantity because they've got to start up production. In the case of like a dip, right? You want dip, you want twice as many jalapenos, and maybe some habaneros thrown in to localize it. And then they have to make a big batch of that stuff and then bottle it up and label it. So there would probably be a minimum quantity. So that part should be done. Now, I want you to, a lot of this is about visualization. You got to kind of see that. As I mentioned, see your product coming in. How much do you think you would be selling? How many stores would you be in? How many locations would you have? What quantity would go in there? Therefore, what quantity would you need? We need to visualize different quantities. The biggest problem with me in doing this is I arrive at one number and then my brain just wants to see it go to the next number, right? So it was years ago, I drove around Cayo and I counted all the grocery stores. And at that time, all the ones I could find, even in the back roads, 42 in San Ignacio area, 42 stores at that time. And then I'd say, well, gosh, what if I could put 12 of my products in there? I don't want to load up the store so the stuff expires, but man, if I could just, you'll have to do the math. Break out the calculator, 42 stores times a dozen. And that would be how many, maybe I could sell a dozen, hope to sell a dozen a day, a week, whatever, and then start to visualize the quantities. Maybe you'll need a pallet, and the pallet actually might be the minimum order. A container load, maybe, I don't know. Now, we'll try to get some estimates get an estimate, and for our purposes, so we don't bother all of the transport people, maybe you know somebody that brings stuff down here. The transport cost, we need to estimate that. Also need to look into the customs cost. I know we've covered this, but now that you can see your little product, you need to start early on costing. Customs, maybe some of you're out there in the workforce, out in the offices, maybe you know somebody in customs. Then this would give us our total cost to your garage. Is that how you spell garage? I guess that is. Or your bedroom, your spare bedroom with the pallet of cheese dip. So then again, from that cost, we can come up with your markup, the wholesale price, what it would cost to distribute it, and the retail markup, which could be 10 to 20%. I would say normally. When I was in the grocery stores, I paid somewhere around 20-25% to the store. But I also put my price on the product and then deducted my markup, their markup, to get to my actual wholesale price. There was no distribution. Okay, so then you ask yourself, are you still sexy? After we add up all these costs, now you got the vision. You're thinking about the cosmetics, thinking about that. They're already made. Now we just think about the price that people are going to have to pay for it, and ask yourself, is it still a sexy product offering? And to review, you could go back and look at the value propositions model with more for less, same for less, more for more. Where will you be in comparison to the competition? Will you be offering more and charging more for it? Will you be charging, giving more and charging less? Maybe you're going to give the people the same product that's already available, the same, and charge less for it. But that would leave us in the red ocean when we offer the same. I think our best bet is to offer something different. Unless the competition has a basic item and they're just charging a bunch for it. By the way, lifting weights. I wish I had a weight set. I wish I could be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but a barbell, just a barbell. It is $100. That's nuts. You can go get somebody to make you some barbells and sell them for less. But barbells are hamsters. Go back to the previous video. They're hamsters, they're not mice. Once you get a set of barbells, you've got a set of barbells. Won't ever need another one unless they get stolen. So, strategically thinking, I want to go back to this size thing. The minimum quantity, the quantity that you're visualizing, and we have to balance. You have to balance. Are you going to go for it? Or are you going to test the market? And as soon as I do that, I say, well, maybe we'll just order a little bit. We'll test the market. We'll get the minimum quantity and test the market. Then what pops into my mind is, if I test it out, I'm giving the potential copycat competitors time to sneak up on me. And there's such a thing, maybe it'll come up later, first move advantage. First mover advantage. If you're the first one to market, you can get your brand out there. People start getting used to your product and you have an advantage. You build up that strength, and then when people try to attack you, they've got resistance because people are already used to that product. They don't want to switch because they already know this one works. But if you just test it out, then that might leak the idea out and people might copy you. Which leads me to another concept. If we're going to test it, and then you have the option test it or fend off the copycats, because it's really a test. We test it, which takes time. And if we go slow, then that gives the copycats time to come in. Now, if that's what you're worried about, and it's hard to admit, if you're worried about, well, let's go slow at first, oh, then they'll copy us. Well, then if that's the case, if you're worried about copycats, you have to question if you have a competitive advantage. How are you different? Do you have a secret? You know, we went through that. Some kind of expertise, low-cost distribution, something that would fend off the copycats, to put up that barrier of entry so they don't enter your space. So we have to consider that. Okay, so you got 3 things to work on tonight. You got the marketing concept, find out what they want before we order it, right? And then we're going to check out all the competition surrounding the products that you're thinking about. Do the 4 Ps on you and them and see how we stack up. And all the other little things such as this. And then we need to start thinking seriously about costing, because we don't want to end up with costs that our target market doesn't want to pay. So then you ask yourself, are you still sexy? Okay, that's it. See you next time.